Joel, you black and you were there. What did you think of at church yesterday? Who is the Christian worst enemy? How did that go for you?
It was definitely an unexpected answer. That is for sure.
And why?
Because you don't think that that would be a reality. Am I able to say it, or are you gonna say it?
Oh yeah, you can say it.
Oh.
It's out there now.
Okay, so your answer was who is the Christian's worst enemy, and you said Jesus, and you just don't want to think that. You just don't normally think that would be the case, but you're totally right in the sense that if Jesus came back, there's no way that the Christians, the namesake only, would appreciate it or accept him. They just wouldn't do it.
If Jesus walked the earth with the same message that he had, you must be born again. Sin is of the devil. Anyone who sin is of their father, the devil. Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Be holy. Keep the values. Love your enemy. Even loving your enemy, they won't do it. Your neighbor as yourself. They will kill him. They will murder Jesus.
And what was crazy is that there's a person there's a guy like Trump who's in office, and he's working with them on certain things that is not even as narrow as Jesus would be. And he's working with them, letting, women being for women being in the workforce, so and so. But, his message is still strong, but he's still working with them, and yet they still try to crucify him.
They hate him. They hate him because he represents good. He represents the Father. But it was a fun question, too, because it was like fun hearing all these different answers.
Yeah.
Amazing. What do you think, Chris? You were there. You holy.
Oh, yeah. I'm a real Christian.
Were you surprised at the answer?
Yeah, I was, because I didn't expect it. Because we had our, we had our answers, in the back here in the office. And we were, you were saying like, oh, you guys chose the same ones as the people who take the wide road.
I have realized that if you want to know that you're on the wrong road, listen to the crowd. If the crowd's saying the same thing, something wrong.
Yep.
I even talked to another friend of mine on the phone, and we were talking about something. And I asked him about who is the Christian's worst enemy. He either said self or Satan, one of those. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, that's the same answer.
Just like everybody else.
The people on the right road gave. He's like...
That's when I knew, because I don't think I gave an answer ever on the show, and I don't even know if I gave a straight answer in the office, but I had thought Satan or, a fake Christian, and then I heard people calling in saying that, and, other people, the random people that you ask, I was like, oh, they're saying the same thing. There's no way that's it. But I thought Mark's answer was pretty good yesterday about how if you're a Christian, you have no enemies, in a sense that you're not vulnerable to them or anything like that. No matter what they do here on the earth, it's not really an issue. But yeah, I understand what you're saying with your answer.
Yeah, James said that his answer of the hate report.
Yeah.
He said his answer was the second deepest.
Yeah.
What was his answer? I forgot.
You'll have to ask James.
You have to ask him, yeah. It was so...
I can't repeat it.
But it was, who is the Christian's worst enemy? And when I was riding down the road from the barber shop, and it just occurred to me, if Jesus would walk the earth, the Christian would kill him. They are his worst. Jesus Christ is the worst enemy for the Christians. They love Satan more than they love. Because they don't believe anything that Jesus said. Nothing.
Right.
They don't believe anything. They don't believe you could be perfect. They don't believe you could overcome sin. They don't believe you can love your enemy. and love your neighbor as yourself. They don't believe any of that. They'll preach about it, shout about it, dance about it, but they have no belief in it. It's pretty sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's horrible because the world is suffering as a result of not believing it and not living it. It's time to live it. It was amazing discussion yesterday. I wanted to talk about, this is from the Journal of Adolescent Health. It reports that 80% of young adults reported significant depressive symptoms. 80% of young people reported significant depressive symptoms. And what that's saying to me is that they come from no good parents. Their parents are no good. Their parents didn't love them or don't love them. Because whatever the parents are, what the kids will become. And the parents have not set a good example of how to deal with the issues of life. They have not set that example for their children. And whenever the kids have a little shutdown time or things doesn't go their way or they're not being made to feel excited, then they're depressed. Because everything but what is right is what they're experiencing. They're not seeing parents deal with the issues of life without being depressed. You cannot be depressed if you love what's right with all your heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else. It's impossible to be depressed. It's a spiritual thing. And you can know that the kids been separated from their fathers and recreated in the image of the mother, and that's why they're depressed. They live off excitement. They cannot handle anything. And that's a horrible way to live. And what they're going to end up doing, going to the phony experts with the degrees who have no common sense at all, and they're going to get the kids medication, dumb them down, brainwash them, send them off to school, demoralize them. And the kids going to grow up at some point, become adults, and they're just going to be screwed up adults. It's a spiritual battle, folks. It's really time to, if men were to wait, it's time to really realize that and overcome the fallen state. But if men were to wake up, the women will have no other choice. They have to follow the men or suffer and die. Really. They got to follow the men. And the men once you wake up, in your home, you're dealing with light and darkness. The man is of the light and the woman is of the darkness. Because of God being the man's God and Satan being the woman's God. And the man will be able to stand between the mother and the children and protect them from darkness, from the mother. And eventually bring the mother out of the hell she's in. But it's not going that route because the men are listening to the women. And it just ain't going to get better. Sorry. I don't wish that. I started saying, I wish I could tell you to get better, but it's not. Because it's just not like that. Men are created to lead, women are created to follow. The love is in the man, not in the woman. It comes through the man from Christ. If it's coming through the woman, it's coming straight out of hell, up through hell. And that's why it's not going to work. And a lot of guys and ladies are starting to realize it. And they're going and forgiving. They're forgiving. So if your children are depressed, suicidal, alcoholic, into sex before marriage, you have failed them. It's your fault. But once they become adults, it's their fault because they have to overcome it. Amazing stuff. God's way is so simple and easy. I can't really express how easy it is. Satan's way is rough. It's hell. You're living hell on earth. You have a choice. You can live heaven on earth, paradise, or you can live hell on earth. I was talking to a young man after church yesterday. He wanted to talk to me about some stuff, and his life is changing, but he feels alone. He feels alone because all of a sudden the people around him can't relate to him and he can't relate to them. And he's not preaching to them or anything, but he can't relate anymore. They're like, what do I do? I'm like, nothing. Don't force it. God came to divide, not to unite. The good from the evil. Don't force it, folks, because evil will destroy you, even in your own family, if you force it. Don't force it to either way. Don't force yourself to overcome them, and don't force yourself to be with them. I just got a text from one of my friends. Let me see. This is from AC. I believe the worst enemy is the enemy that will be destroyed last, according to the Bible. Death. If death successfully attack us, it will result in the end of our life. But Christ has already destroyed death. The last thing he did was to take the sting out of death. So I don't understand. I believe the worst enemy is the enemy that will be destroyed last, according to the Bible. And that was the last thing he did. He conquered death. So my AC, tell me what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about. Did you know death was already conquered, Joe? Or Chris?
I think I've heard that phrase that Jesus conquered death.
He went to hell and conquered death.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
But anyway, I want to go to caller out of Virginia. Amazing. And don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, and share the JLP Peterson radio show, folks. We really appreciate it. We are at war. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of America. And it's going to take all of us to do it.